Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, and in today's video I'm going to share with you guys a few simple tricks that I use to keep my dog matted free and smelling good in between baths, and also tear stain free. So what I like to do every week is use a waterless shampoo on her coat, and then shortly after that brush her hair entirely. I don't have to brush every single day because I do keep her hair short, but if your dog has a long coat, I suggest brushing at least every other day. That will help them to stay matted free. For her face, I do like to use regular wipes just to wipe around her eyes and get like the gunk out, and use a fine tooth comb to brush her face and make sure that the hairs around the eyes are not poking her. That causes them to produce tears, and the tears starts accumulating in the corner of their eye, making their fur dark, and sometimes it just looks like a reddish brown stain around the face. And I also use this safety tip shears to keep the hairs nice and trimmed away from the eyes. Now, a few tips that I have for tear staining. First thing is, make sure you're giving your dog filtered water. The tap water has a lot of minerals in it, and that sometimes can be the culprit for tear staining. Another thing that is very important is their diet. You want to make sure you're not feeding them a diet full of dyes. What does that mean? The kibbles, if you're giving them dry kibbles, make sure they're all one color, like all brown. They don't come with colorful kibbles, because those colorful kibbles contain dyes, and those dyes can also be the cause of tear staining. Also, I like to make sure that she doesn't get a lot of treats, like those reddish, fake treats. If she does get treats, it's usually just like a chicken jerky with only one ingredient, which is a chicken, or whatever treat that I'm giving her. It's usually very natural and it contains no dyes. So I'm going to show you guys what I do in between grooming every week that helps her to stay nice and clean. I use this no rinse waterless shampoo. It's a lavender chamomile, so I use just 2 pumps. It's a foaming cleanser, and then I just spread it around her coat. And then using a brush, I brush her entirely. I always, when I'm doing this, I always like to put her in the grooming table. I just think it makes it easier to manage what you're doing, even though she's pretty helpful for the most part. So I'm just going to be brushing her entirely. And what it does is it helps remove any debris from rolling outside in the grass. It freshens up their hair. And it helps their hair to stay matted free. I'm gonna do her ears because usually that's where you get knots, the ears. shortly after brushing, you can see how much hair came out of her. It also helps if your dog sheds. She's not really a shedding dog, but by doing this, I think it helps that too. I'm gonna go ahead and use a fine tooth comb on her coat, make sure that I got everything out. You want to make sure and check in their armpits, under their arms, because that's usually where they will get knots, and also behind their ears. You want to use the fine tooth comb and their ears. Now for the face, I'm just going to grab a wipe and wipe her face. You can wipe their teeth too. And then use the brush. And then with the brush, you just brush their face. And then go in with the comb and make sure you got everything out, especially around the eyes. That's what's going to help your dog to stay tear stain free, or at least help to minimize it. Now I am noticing that the hairs around her eyes are starting to get a little bit too long because it's been a couple of weeks since her grooming. So I am going to go ahead and use the safety tip shears to just trim them a little bit, and that will help her tear stain. This is how much I got off. And you never want to point the shears against their eyes. You always want to go parallel, even though it has a safety tip, but you always want to be careful with it. And I'm just making sure I grab the hairs that are too close to her eyes. And then I'll comb it and see if I need to get anything else more. You can see that in her face, just by trimming the little bit of hair that was sticking up into her eyes, and we're starting already to get the tear staining. You can see how much cleaner she looks, and how much it opened up her eyes. And also noticed how her coat looks a lot fluffier and whiter, and also she smells really good because of the shampoo. And it really shouldn't take you any more than 5 to 10 minutes per week to just keep up with the grooming. This will help their coat to always stay matted free and will make your dog happier. So I hope you enjoyed these tips, and let me know what other videos you would like to see next. Hope you enjoyed this video, and let's say bye to the camera. Say bye. Bye guys. See you next time.